A bunch of dad jokes here. Our title for today is meeting recordings and where they'll end up in this new stream paradigm of OneDrive and SharePoint. There's a few other things, but I can't remember right now. I'm just going to hit the play button. All right, there it is. It was missing a scene. You thought you'd lost us, didn't you? Hello, Sandy. Hello, Suzanne. Hello, Andrew. Evening, morning, midday. We've got quite a spread there.
Yes, we do. Yes, we have a wide spread.
Yeah, nice one.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Look, there was tons of announcements last week. Maybe you're all announced out. But this is the Message Center show, and we have an obligation, we have a duty to make you aware of change in your tenant.
That's right. That's right.
What have you seen in your tenant, Daniel?
Well, I want to just say I'm a little. I got to tweak my video. I know this has nothing to do with the Message Center, but I feel like I'm washed out with my lighting.
And
here.
I think that was washed out from Ignite last week.
Well, maybe. I mean, those that are on the audio podcast, you're not getting to see this, and it's actually probably a good thing. I don't know what's going on with my lighting. Maybe this is normal, and I'm just now noticing it. But I feel like I'm white as a ghost right now, and I need to fix that. So hopefully before next episode I'll do that. So there were so many announcements last week. Obviously, it was the week of Microsoft Ignite, and lots of announcements. A lot of them, not a lot of them, quite a few though that we already kind of knew about because we talked about this on the show that the Teams product group does a good job of letting us know when things are coming. So some of the things were already in the Message Center, right? That we had already talked about. That were, hey, these are awesome stuff. And we're like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's, no, some really good, had some really great conversation interaction with others. And I think you did too as well, right?
I did. I've just addressed the echo of Daniel. Sorry, people. We're playing a bit with NDI and then getting audio through my speaker as well. This happens when we make last-minute changes 3 minutes before the show starts. Much better now.
We were making some changes.
We did.
And when I say we, I mean that guy.
Well, at least you're pointing in the right direction. Yeah, I got into some conversations as well. We had table talks, we had Twitter conversations, we had a really good watch party with regarding 365 and a few people there. And I think that was something that helped us to make MSIgnite feel more personal. So we couldn't be there in person, but at least we had this side call where we were jumping in occasionally and passing comments on what we saw and talking between sessions.
Honestly, I think that was one of the highlights for me, was being able to do that, because the conversations coming out of sessions, coming out of keynotes, coming out of sessions, and at lunch, all of those conversations that you're having with fellow attendees, I think actually makes the Microsoft Ignite for me. So having those conversations with the Regarding 365 family, we were, it really was good. That, along with a few other things, really made my week.
I thought of a good analogy for this, but it feels like I'll keep on going and going and going. Let's cue up that first message, which is about, and I swear I was going to have a better system for this too and stop hunting and pecking for the notifications. New Power Automate for Teams, where are you? That's the scene that we want, and that's not the message. See, everything keeps changing. Where is this puppy?
Yes, so let me just dive in while you find it. It is MC222-580, new Power Automate app for Teams. So this is one of those, I think, announcements with a great title, because it tells you exactly what it is. It is an app in Teams and it's the power be rolling out. I think it's rolling out end of September, which is where we're at right now. So it should be coming to your tenant very quickly, but being able to get to Power Automate from within Teams. Now, just want to remind everybody, this is not really a special integration with Teams, meaning bringing more functionality of workflows, being able to work with Teams. You still have some of the same capabilities you've had in Power Automate, but this is being able to get to your canvas of Power Automate, your flows, and turn things on and off within Teams. So you wouldn't have to leave the canvas of Teams. You could stay there and utilize the Power Automate service. So if you want to disable this, if for some reason in your environment, especially if you haven't rolled out Power Automate and you don't want the app to show up in Teams, you can go to the Teams apps, the permission policies, and be able to turn that off. There's quite a few, I don't know, 5 or 6 links here at the bottom of this message, which is great, giving you information about the connectors for Microsoft Teams and such. But remember, this is not about the connectors. This is about you getting into the Power Automate canvas, right, to be able to get into the app. So, like I said, rolling out very, very, very soon. And also, I want to make sure we know apps in Teams are all for your user. This app is for your user, right? So when I open this app in Teams, it's my stuff in Power Automate. So,
yeah, it follows that pattern, doesn't it, with the likes of Tasks, which used to be Planner, Community, which is Yammer in the background. That's all our experience of these services coming in. But yeah, great to see.
Yeah, and so the next message, Darrell, is our title message, really, for today, right?
Yes.
All about putting those recordings in SharePoint and OneDrive.
Yeah, what a headline too. This was quite a big announcement at Microsoft Ignite. The thing about this is it's such a change for where the videos are being stored, and this is the first step into what they call in the new stream. This is message MC222640, Microsoft Teams meeting recordings saved to OneDrive and SharePoint. Look, this is I think it's a step we've had to take anyway post-meeting to be able to share content with external people, right? We can hit record or allow the meeting to be recorded in a Microsoft Teams meeting, get saved into stream. People in our organization can consume it, that's fine, but what about people outside of our org? And this has been such a hotly requested feature. But it's the move towards having recordings and video in OneDrive or SharePoint is really going to change the way that that stream works and the way that it surfaces content. We'll do a deep dive on it sometime, but just more specific to meeting recordings and what you need to know as an admin and as a person thinking about the impacts, that it's just around the corner. Look, in the 5th of October, you can enable this feature, and it's going to affect new meetings. Anything that you are recording, it's going to be in either OneDrive or SharePoint. Now, I just want to split this out a bit here. Daniel, there's 2 locations, and when do you think OneDrive might be used?
For OneDrive, I think it's for when you're having those conversations in your chat. When you're doing the video, you pop that out.
Yes, so that's one use of it. And when we're talking about recordings, the OneDrive is going to be used when it's a meeting that's not in a channel. I've called it a standalone meeting before. Microsoft just calls it meetings, and then there are meetings with channels. But these are meetings that when you're in the Teams app, you'll find it in chat. It's a meeting that you schedule within Outlook, and it doesn't belong to any team. And a person from your organization who is a organizer or has a presenter status can hit that record button, and the meeting will be saved in their OneDrive. great. That's fine. It'll sit there. There'll be a folder called recordings, and the meeting will be automatically shared with people in your organization. That's great. But it won't be shared automatically with people outside of your organization. So here's where you'll take a few steps, and they'll be quite easy because we're familiar with sharing content outside of our org using OneDrive and SharePoint. You will use the regular sharing button. I suggest use specific people so that you can add the attendees that are external, and then they'll have access to the meeting recording. So it removes one step of what we currently do, which is go to Stream, download the video, put it into OneDrive, and then do the sharing. There's another scenario. It is channel meetings, where this is a meeting that's held within a Microsoft team, and members of the team can attend the meeting. And the recording for that, it doesn't matter who hits record in terms of the team membership. It's usually members from your organization that can do this. But when you hit record, it's going to go into a folder called recordings, again for consistency, in the files of that channel. It'll be, of course, automatically shared with team members because team members can get to the files in the channel. But again, what about those external attendees? You know, Daniel, you can have external attendees in a channel meeting.
You can, and this is logically, I think, the best place, right? If it's in the channel, that means you've got that SharePoint site behind you, and so if it's a channel meeting, that's where it's going to go. But yes, you most certainly can have those external people part of that.
Yeah, I came across this when I was looking at meetings a bit earlier in the year and how they've changed a bit, and didn't realize this, that you can have that meeting in a channel and you can invite people from outside of the team. Their experience of the meeting is they can see the content, they can hear, they can come off mute and participate, but they won't see chat. Mm-hmm. They won't see files. They basically can't see anything from the team. So if you do a recording this way, then you are going to have to take additional steps to share that recording. And this is where it gets a little complex. Have you got external sharing turned on for your team? Are you allowed to share content out of your team with people who are not part of the team and outside of your organization? Let's not go down that rabbit hole, but it just needs a bit more thought. So that's a big announcement, and just progressing further with that rollout. So it's available early October. You can enable it. End of October, meeting recordings in OneDrive and SharePoint will support English captions. Early to mid-November, rolling out all Teams meetings will be saved to OneDrive and SharePoint unless you delay the changes. And then Q1 2021, no new meeting recordings will be saved into the classic Microsoft Stream.
Which is, to me, is a little bit of a misnomer of classic. What is classic Stream? Yeah. You got to think of it this way: the new Stream is, and this is the way I'm thinking of it, and maybe people can correct me if I'm wrong here. I was wrong once a long time ago, but. Is that, you think about Stream, the new Stream is that underlying technology that's empowering this information sharing or storing, of the videos. But understand that, these videos are being put in SharePoint. They're being put in OneDrive. Mm-hmm. And so this classic Stream is that website. You go to Stream, we're talking about creating a new video portal. That was something that was talked about at Ignite with the new Stream, and that's really how we're going to consume videos with the new Stream moving forward from a standpoint of I want to see all that's being published in my organization, those videos. So but I think you did a really good job there, Darrell, talking about where things are stored and what scenario. I think sharing is going to be big here, and it's going to be complicated, just like you were talking about, especially for external people, but even internal people. What if I create a channel meeting and then I want to share that meeting, that recording, with someone else in my organization that's not part of this team? What do I do? And I mean, okay, I can share it, but then now I'm giving them resources that are inside my team. So do I just invite them to the team? So there's a lot of governance around here. These decisions need to be made, and be thought of before this kind of starts being utilized this way. So that's just my suggestion there. But one thing about this that it does give us is all of those wonderful file management features in SharePoint and OneDrive, right? Labeling and sensitivity and all that kind of stuff.
Retention policies.
Retention.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to seeing it. I know that it's going to make a bit more sense as we get our hands on it and get some more guidance. I'd finish off by saying watch this video. So I recommend going to aka.ms/virtual hub and looking into the modern work category and finding video and Microsoft Stream. Let me just show this on the page. Right, so here's aka.ms/virtual hub. That'll take you to virtual hub on the adoption site, modern work, and then video stream. And you'll be looking for a title here, what's new in Microsoft Teams meeting recordings. I'll drop it in the description of the video to make it easier for you to see. So check that out. That's got a good explanation of how this will work. Anyway, awesome. I can't think of a segue because my brain's all streamed out.
Well, all those videos, you're going to need a list.
Of course.
And of when you want to schedule these meetings. And scheduling meetings requires a calendar.
Keep going.
And then there's another type of calendar that you might want to have. Instead of an Outlook calendar, you might want to have a calendar in SharePoint and OneDrive. And the way you would do that is Microsoft Lists. And okay, Darrell, I've been stalling for you to find it. This is MC222826 calendar view on Microsoft List and SharePoint List. So this, and the first sentence of this announcement should really, for people who've been in SharePoint for a long time, and then they're starting to use this modern, the modern look and feel of SharePoint. One big gap has been the calendar view for, well, here we go. The first sentence, users will now be able to view list content in a modern calendar view. Yay, this is amazing. Well, anyway, it's amazing that we're getting it, but it's technology we've had for a very long time, just not in modern. Rolling out end of September, so now starting to mid-October, so it'll take a couple weeks or so. And you will have a new option when you go to create new, when you go into the information panel for a list, you can say, you can create new view on a list, and you can click on calendar as one of those options, and then you'll be able to view your, create a calendar view, list view. So it's going to be fantastic. This announcement's pretty simple, but this is what we're getting. This means, though, that we'll be able to consume this information. This is SharePoint Modern. This is not just Microsoft List, remember, because Microsoft List is SharePoint. So you can, it would be nice to have a little bit more information about this and maybe a blog post or something linked, but we don't have that. We just have a link at the bottom, learn more about Microsoft Lists. But this is great. This is one of the last kind of functionality gaps between classic and modern that a lot of people use. A lot of people use calendar views in SharePoint Classic. Well, here we go, being able to create a modern calendar view.
Yeah, very good. It doesn't, look like it's changed much, just modernized, and it looks like it functions the same. I'm looking forward to seeing if now that it's coming into modern, that it'll get a bit of attention and we'll see something more with it.
Yeah. Well, what you should do, and I agree with you, and what I think you should do is create yourself a task in To-Do to check this out mid-October to see it in your tenant.
Well, yeah.
But what I'd really like to get is maybe a push notification.
Yeah, well, I think that if I had a shared list with you from my to-do, then maybe you could add it to that list, and then I would receive that push notification. You see how we did pretty good on that one. How about that, people? Chat room? Yes? No? Okay. Well, you're 30 seconds behind anyway, so we'll get the results in another poll. Push notifications for work accounts in Microsoft To Do, MC 222629. We can share our to-do list with our colleagues. Yes, this is good. If Daniel and I are in the same organization, I could allow him to add tasks to my list, and we could work off that same list. This is, if I kind of compare this to Planner. Planner is where, as a team, we would work together on a list of tasks. Everyone's kind of at the same level in terms of owning those that plan and managing those tasks. But To Do and shared lists is more like one-to-one, small-time coordination of tasks together. I own the list if it's in my mailbox, which is of course in To Do, and I'm allowing Daniel to come in and work with me on that list of tasks. I might assign some to him and all that. So to complete this experience, there's going to be push notifications turned on so that when Daniel adds a task to my shared list, I will receive a push notification that I've received a new task, or there's been a new task. And there's actually just 3 statuses, and it's across Windows, Android, and iOS versions of To Do. We've read them down here somewhere. Where were they? It was basically just added a task, changed a task, completed a task. Somewhere in there. Oh yeah, task added, task completed, task updated. Helpful, yeah. What I find interesting though, Daniel, from a Message Center admin perspective, is it's like sometimes these announcements come out and the immediate thing they have to make clear is, and here's how to turn it off, you know?
Yes. Well, because I agree with you. I think a lot of times that's the feedback they get. But you've got to balance the good with the bad, or
Yes.
negative. I don't know if it's bad to say, hey, I want to turn this off. But the people who read an announcement and say, oh, this is going to, we haven't rolled this out. We need to update training. This is too quick. We'd like to delay this. They're the ones that speak up, right? Not the people who love it. And so, yeah, a lot of these, that's the first thing you read is, here's how to turn it off. It's like, well, okay, wait a minute. Don't necessarily turn it off.
Do you see any impacts though? I mean, other than we can't keep up with providing training resources, or we haven't figured out how, given that if it was just turned on automatically, how would this impact people, and why might you turn this off, or why might you leave it on?
Yeah, I really don't know. I think maybe it really is about training, and maybe it is about, maybe your organization doesn't use To Do right now, and so you don't want people doing this to others, or maybe you have things set up to where everybody's sharing. I don't know. Yeah. It is, organizations use these technology. You got to remember, organizations use the technology differently. Now it may just be a little bit different, right? Just a little bit different, but organizations you have their own way of doing things, and I think some people say, oh, I want to turn this off. Also, you got to remember, admins are looking at this first, and there's a reason why a lot of people have this thought that IT people are the no people, right? So they see an announcement, oh, new functionality, got to turn that off. Yeah. Before I really have time to investigate it. So I think that's a lot of that. Yeah. A lot of reasons. But for this one, I'm not sure why you would want to turn it on.
Look, if you're going to the extent of using a shared list for tasks, then those are the people that are going to benefit from it. It's not going to harm anyone else. If they're complaining that where are these push notifications coming from? I didn't know Daniel had assigned a task to me. That's so annoying. Anyway, we've beaten that dead horse enough. I think it's a good feature. It's over to you whether you want to turn it off or on, leave it turned on. But timing wise, the switch is there now if you want to turn it off. Right, there's where it is. It's go to your org settings, go to Microsoft To Do, find a box and untick it or tick it. I can't really see from that. I think it is untick it if you don't want it. And the feature will become available on what? review and access by 19th of October. How about that? Another update which has a very specific date. Anyway, enough. I think that it's about time we had a refresh, a visual refresh of this message, and potentially a feature around lists that if we were to create lists, for example.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you, Daniel.
I was waiting for you to wrap up that transition. Anyway, great job, Darrell. I support you. Fantastic. List creation from templates, visual refresh in SharePoint sites, MC222-600. This is an announcement. It's all about really bringing the view of how, when you go in to create a list, the same view that you see in Microsoft Lists. That's really what this is about. So the timing of this is targeted release end of September. Here we are through mid-October. And then for those of you that have a standard release tenant, which is, I hope, everyone, to be honest. That's a conversation for another show, maybe. But standard release gradually rolling out mid-October through the end of October. So again, this is, if you've been using Microsoft Lists at all, you've seen a new list creation experience, and you have 8 out-of-the-box list types, issue tracker, employee onboarding, etc. Then those are just templates to get you started. Then you also have those options to create a blank one, or from Excel and from an existing list. This is all functionality that we already have in SharePoint, right? Except those templates. Well, now we're getting that same list creation experience that we have in Microsoft List in the SharePoint UI, really, is what's happening here. So you might want to notify your users about this. I think you will need to notify your users just a little bit as a, hey, this is going to look different. And especially for your organization, if your users are not really great with change and they go and create a list and poof, this is totally different. What am I supposed to do? You might want to make sure you update that training for your users. I especially like on this message, there's a section called known issues with this release at the bottom. None. Oh, well, that's great.
I have an issue with this. I don't like the look of the templates. Terrible.
Right. So that's interesting. But anyway, I think it's nice bringing this into SharePoint. It's the same backend anyway, so I'm liking this new experience. And as well as when you click one of those templates, you get a preview of what is this like. That's great, so users know what they're getting before they go ahead and create the list. So again, rolling out very, very soon to target a release, and then mid-October starting rolling out for the standard release. So yeah. Are you excited about this, Darrell? I mean, I think it's great to bring that consistency.
I got so excited about it, I gave you a middle name. Yeah, in the live chat. No, sorry, podcast people. Let me just spell it out for you. Daniel's new middle name is Consistency. Daniel Consistency Glenn.
Well, I don't know if that's new. That's for anybody that's been watching this show for too long. They'll pick up on that. So it's great. I like the consistency of this. It's the same back end anyway, so bring that over. And I think they're going to be able to expand, the functionality when we're creating lists, both in Microsoft List and SharePoint. They'll be able to expand on this, so it'll be great. So I'm liking this change. You know what I would really like though?
Tag me.
I'd really like to be able to tag things. I love.
Tag.
Are we high-fiving?
Yeah, tag me, man. Yeah,
on tag.
You. Good. I'll take that. It's a bit like WWF or WWE. I don't know what you call it. Tab. Tap. You're in the ring now. How about that for a segue? Introducing message tags in Message Center. Now I know I talked about this already, and so I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I was given early access to the feature, and of course we use my message center to show the messages, so we've seen it before, but it's now official. We have MC 222899, and for admins and other people that have access to the message center, you will now see a new column, and it has tags to be able to organize and filter the messages, namely the ones around admin impact, new feature, user impact, and new feature, and the data privacy one is going to be rolled up into that too, feature update. So those tags mean that, look, I can do this. Let's just bust on out again and have a look at it. Let's get rid of that message. Here we are. Here's our labels. Funny though, they're called labels here, but they're called tags in the message. Filter. We're interested in new features. What's coming to our people? So new features usually infer user impact. And there we go. We can have a quick glance through as a change manager or someone who's preparing people for change. New feature for viewing permissions. That's admin. New user impact, there's the one there about Microsoft lists and SharePoint lists in the calendar view. Something else there about, I know that's an admin impact for you get the idea. So makes it easy for us to glance on through and take the appropriate action to make people aware of change. Will that be useful to you people?
It will be to me. I think, and having these labels to be able to filter, we talk about this almost every week. There's so many updates and so many changes happening. To be able to filter these down based on, these labels is going to be, I think, going to be great for admins.
No, the difference between new feature and feature update. New feature, something that's new to the message center and new to your environment, your tenant. Feature update, something that you've already had, or even a message that is getting an update to say this is what's happening. But yeah, good stuff. Clear all those filters and head on back to the end of the show and the closeout. That's us. Yeah, look, thanks for joining, everyone. It's been good seeing the chat and some interesting comments there too. We had Andrew, thank you. Hilda, Sandy, who else joined us there? I know that Suzanne was there too. How do you like it, Suzanne? We're in daylight savings here in New Zealand. We got a little bit of an extra hour before we watch the show and start that. See you again next week. We might do a deep dive on the stream, the new stream, and meeting recordings, just to give you a bit more information, a bit more context. But we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.